Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello, I hope you're doing all right, all of you. And it is optional, but I would love it if you could all just turn on your cameras and microphones so we can have a quick introduction and check in. Hello. So, before beginning, how are we feeling today? How is our day going?
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I am doing good. Yeah, so this is the first live session that I am being attending because always I try to attend, ma'am. Previously, since the time you have created this batch, I've always tried to join the session, but I do not know why no one has let me in. So this is the first time that I am experiencing the session.
Okay, that's nice. And I really hope you have a good time.
Yeah, please, because literally, I am more interested into the course that you are coming up with. That is writing therapy, and one is mindset coaching. And regarding that, I guess I have discussed with you on WhatsApp also, like regarding for becoming like I am into tarot and astro occult. I had discussed with you on WhatsApp regarding this. Then you suggested like mindset coaching will be good, but I thought why not? I am more interested into writing. Why not learn writing and help others also?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the how writing therapy can bring transformation into someone's life. Then there is one more, that is brain breaking activity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so these are the three courses that I have planned to, but before that I just wanted to get a glance, how do you conduct session. That is the reason I wanted to keenly join, because like last few months also I have just checked your post, like every month you keep on conducting sessions. So this time I have literally damn sure that I will be joining. That is the reason
Okay.
I'm here. How are
I'm
you?
glad. I am good. And thank you for joining. And I can assure you that it will be enriching for you. And all the best for the future.
Thank you so much, mom. Thank you so much.
Okay. And Neha ma'am, you also turned your camera on. I could see you. How are you doing?
Yeah, hi. How are you? Happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali. I'm doing good. How are you today?
I'm fine as well. So, looking forward to learning lots of new things. That
Yeah.
is what is my current mood. So, all
And
the best wishes for your webinar today.
thank you. And I hope you have a good time.
Same here.
Okay. So before, without any delays, let me introduce you to what we all are looking forward to for today. So this is a webinar on winning from within, an introduction to sports psychology, and here we'll be learning like it's an introductory webinar for now. We're not delving deeper into it, but I'm pretty sure you'll have a great idea about what it is and what it deals with and how to go forward with it. And to introduce myself, I am Unnati and I'll be facilitating this webinar with my fellow facilitator, Shivani. And so before beginning, I would like to ask you all, what is the first thing that comes to our minds when we hear the term sports psychology, and what drew us to join this session today? Anyone?
Sorry, mom, can you repeat the question once again?
Yeah, sure. So I asked that when you hear the term sports psychology, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? And what do we already know about it? Or what do we think it includes?
As per my understanding, because this concept is a bit new for me, so for me, sports psychology is wherein we help players to build their concentration, overcome their overthinking issues, and even if there is a match, they are not onto just winning the game, but focusing more on that you are getting the chance to showcase your skills and talent, wherein you, even if, like, for example, if any Indian cricketer also comes, and if we are counseling them, we need to focus on to what are the major hurdles which is not allowing him to achieve his goal, and he is into stress and depression. And when we understand the root cause, we work on to it with different therapies.
Correct. So you're pretty much close to what it actually is, and it is basically, like, to summarize what you just said, it is actually, as the name suggests, that we need to win from within no matter what the outcome of the game is. That's right. And Neha ma'am mentioned in the group chat that it is the study of influence of individual on sports and vice versa. Like how individuals influence the sports match and how the sports match influences us from within. And that is exactly what sports psychology is and more. And to learn more about it, I'd like to welcome my fellow facilitator, Shivani. And over to you.
Hello everyone, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so hi everybody, my name is Shivani and I will be facilitating with my co-facilitator this entire workshop on sports psychology. And I am personally really looking forward to this, as this is the first time that I will be conducting a workshop on a topic that is very personal to me, because I'm very much influenced and interested in sports and sports psychology. So yeah, really looking forward for this to be an interactive session, and please feel free to answer and put your thoughts forward if there are any when and as the workshop progresses. So yeah, so I think with this we will begin, and I will share my screen now. Uh, is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I think without any further, like late, I would begin with this workshop. So, as the name suggests, it is winning from within the power of sports psychology. So jumping directly onto the introduction part, I think Neha ma'am and I think Shifa was someone who answered. Please correct me if I am pronouncing the name wrong.
That's
Uh,
right.
Okay, so I think you all were pretty close to defining what sports psychology really is. Just to add on it, it also not just deals with how an individual is influenced by the sports or the game that they are playing, but also how it puts them on an emotional and on a mental level. So, a field focused on the mental and emotional aspects of athletic performance, that like athletes enhance focus, motivation and well-being. So not just with the game itself, but how emotionally, mentally and personally the athlete is dealing with the game itself, and what all thoughts and what all thought processes are happening inside the athlete's heart and mind. I think that is also what is the concept of sports psychology, and how to enhance all of this, when it comes to how to enhance focus, how to enhance or improve motivation, and how to overall tackle the well-being, both physical and mental well-being of an athlete, is what is uh, curbed and what comes under the concept of sports psychology. So I think jumping onto the history, it is sports psychology is relatively a very new concept, but the topic has been talked about first in 1898 by Norman Triplett. So, Triplett conducted the study on competition's impact on performance. So, I just noted down the main highlights of sports psychology. So, Norman Triplett was an experimenter. He did a very basic experiment on social facilitation. Now, social facilitation is something where, if you are around people and you are working out with them, it motivates you to work harder, as opposed to when you're working out alone. Because once you are around people and you're working around your competitors, you know the competition level. So it motivates you to work more and it motivates you to work harder. So Norman Triplett did this experiment with cyclists, and he performed this experiments where he said that cyclists would practice their game with other cyclists, with fellow cyclists, and not in alone with personal trainers or something like that. And the results were that when the cyclists were practicing together, it led to improved and enhanced workouts and hard works, and the results were improved. So I think the first concept of sports psychology, directly or indirectly, was given by Norman Triplett. Then in 1925, Coleman Griffith, who is known as the father of sports psychology, why he's known as the father of sports psychology is because he established the first, lab on sports psychology in University of Illinois. And from 1960s to 1970s, we see the formalization of sports psychology. This is where the Olympics and all, formally started inculcating the entire concept of sports coaches, sports psychologists, clinical psychologists, counselors, who are working together for the benefit of the athletes, both mental, physical, and emotional. And apart from this, I think 1960s and 1970s also led to the founding of the International Society of Sports Psychology, that is ISSP. And seeing today, I think judging from today, it is widely accepted in professional sports with a focus on both performance and mental health. So, like I said, that sports psychology is now a very advanced, like it is not advanced, I would say, but it is on a growing aspect, both abroad as well as in India also. Moving forward, talking about components. So, basically components, hold the types as in, what are the types in sports psychology, what are the different areas of job aspects or research aspects or career aspects, we can talk about. So I think first is the performance enhancements, the sports psychologist or the counselors or the coaches who work mainly on the performance enhancement of an athlete. Like it said, it's written here, focuses on techniques to improve focus, confidence, motivation, goal setting, and maximizes athletic performance. So focusing on an athlete individually, personally, those are like personal trainers we can talk about, sports coaches we can talk about, who directly work under the authority of the sports counselors or the sports psychologists, who give one-to-one training to the athletes so that they have an enhanced way of looking towards a game. जैसे अगर ऐसे होता है कि an athlete is going through a major major crisis in attentional focus, उसका game उस पे focus नहीं हो पा रहा है, so that is where वो coaches and the sports psychologists, they come into play. They have this one-to-one conversation with them, they have this one-to-one session with them. वो उनकी वीकनेसेस पे टच अप करते हैं, वो उनसे बात करते हैं कि व्हाट एग्जैक्टली डू यू थिंक एंड व्हाट एग्जैक्टली डू यू फील when you are in the game or before the game begins. So I think curbing all of these things is what comes under performance enhancement, and how sports psychologists, look forward to doing this. And methods of doing this is visualization, self-talk, goal setting, and routine development. So before jumping to the next point, one thing I would like to address is the methods and the focus that we will talk about throughout the types of sports psychology is pretty much the same. That is, the methods of visualization, the methods of using self-talk, the methods of goal setting. These are very generic yet very effective ways of, promoting maximum optimal athletic performance. So you will see a lot of overlap of methods in the coming types of sports psychology. So I think one method I would like to pick up is, which is my favorite method, is basically visualization. तो इसमें usually क्या होता है, if any of you are into sports, और आप अगर कोई टीम स्पोर्ट खेलते हो, या तो अगर आप कोई इंडिविजुअल स्पोर्ट भी खेलते हो, तो बिफोर अ मैच बिगिंस आप बैठ के सोचते हो ना कि आप अगर फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई टेक बास्केटबॉल, ओके, सो आप गेम स्टार्ट होने से पहले आप बैठोगे, आप अपने आप को इमेजिन करोगे कि एक शॉट कैसे लेना है, आपको कितना दौड़ना है, आप कितनी तेज दौड़ोगे, किस तरीके से दौड़ोगे, किसको बॉल पास करोगे, ठीक है। एंड वेन यू विजुअलाइज ऑल ऑफ दिस, योर बॉडी ऑटोमेटिकली इनकलकेट्स ऑल ऑफ दोज एक्शंस कि अगर मुझे ऐसे पास करना है तो मुझे इस तरीके से पास करना पड़ेगा. So, before the match begins or before a game begins, you're visualizing each and every, uh, method, each and every way of how you can, uh, bring out positive results from that match. I think that is, in layman terms, is called as visualization. And self-talk, basically motivating yourself before a match. Self-talk is a very good method of curbing stress and anxiety before a match, because this leads to a lot of, obviously, as the name suggests, self-talk. So it is you who are your greatest strength before the match. Sports psychologists, sports counselors promotes self-talk a lot, because once you verbalize what you're saying and once it goes to your ears, you actually inculcate it. So you must have done this before a match or before any, important event. You sit, if you're feeling nervous, if you're anxious, you sit and you tell yourself कि I can do this, I got this, मैं ये कर सकती हूँ. It is easy. आगे का नहीं सोचते, मैच अच्छे से खेलते हैं. So I think this is what self-talk really means, and this actually motivates you. You yourself is your biggest motivator. I think sports psychology is also promotes this. And goal setting is basically how you imagine your game to be. So I think all of this coming with routine development, managing managing the athlete's appetite, managing the athlete's sleep schedule, managing the athlete's routine exercises, plays, setting a proper routine for them, routine development, which leads to optimal functioning. So the one major goal of sports psychology is optimal functioning of that athlete in a holistic view, that is in an overall view. तो ये होता है. And then second, jumping to the second point, mental health and well-being. So like I said in the beginning, it not just focuses on the physical well-being, but also focuses on the another most important component of athletes, that is mental health and well-being. So it's like addresses the mental health needs of athletes, including managing stress and depression. Like I said, using basic exercises and using the concepts of psychology and counseling to curb athletes from feeling the lowest before, during, and after their matches is what one of the other goals of a sports psychologist that really is. And how, and the focus, so the sports psychologists, the counselors who focus on mental health and well-being, उनका फोकस ये होता है कि they help athletes balance the pressures of competition with personal well-being also. And how this is done is through one-to-one sessions, through follow-up sessions. You must have heard that every team and every player either there is a team counselor, either there is a team sports psychologist, or there are a lot of athletes that have their personal psychologists as well. So most of the time these people are either sports psychologists or sports counselors. Jumping onto injury rehabilitation, I think this is a very major part of sports psychology, which is supporting athletes mentally through recovery, helping them cope with setbacks to stay motivated. So usually what happens is if an athlete injures themselves during a game, it sometimes leads to them feeling very low. And a lot of athletes have also thought about giving up on their career after a major injury has taken place. Because let's not forget, they are also humans. So they do feel scared after a major injury. They do feel weakened. They do feel extra conscious that if they get that injury in the same place again, they might not be able to have a movement at all. For example, if they have a very serious leg injury and if they get injured again, on the same place, तो वो दोबारा से शायद से ना चल पाए. I think this is also one of the fears of a lot of athletes that stops them from going forward with their game after a serious injury that has taken place. So injury rehabilitation uh, so injury rehabilitation में क्या होता है? These psychologists, these sports psychologists, they support the athletes mentally through a lot of positive talk, through a lot of self talk, through a lot of goal setting, through a lot of one-to-one sessions, both and helping them with physical exercises, helping them with mental exercises, so that they don't lose their motivation in their favorite sport. Because all of us know athletes have this as their profession, and this is something that they have really looked forward to through their whole life. So one of the very major responsibilities of a sports psychologist is to not let that motivation die down, to not let that will of fire burn out, I think. So resilience building, positive thinking and realistic goal setting, not setting unrealistic goals की हफ्ते भर में ठीक हो जाओगे, खड़े हो जाना, फिर गिर जाओगे तो कोई मतलब नहीं, कोई बात नहीं, हम फिर से खड़े हो जाएंगे. No, those are unrealistic goals. Every injury does impact a person's body, even if it is an athlete. So setting realistic goals also helps a lot in building resilience and helping the athlete stay motivated. Moving on to team dynamics and leadership. So here, the sports psychologists who are good in group counseling and handling big groups, major chunks of people, they fall under this category. So they are the coaches, the skippers, and the additional sports counselors and sports psychologists, and a lot of other counselors working under one sports psychologist. They handle the entire team together. So one special thing about these sports psychologists who handle the entire team is they have proficiency in uh, strategy building also, because the players rely on them when it comes to good strategy building that will give them optimal results, that will eventually lead them to success. So not just handling them emotionally, but then handling them in a smart way also, building strategies, building gameplays, building techniques that helps every individual, every athlete in that particular team to move forward in their best way possible. कि किस तरीके का, अगर फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन क्रिकेट किस तरीके का यू नो हाउ टू से किस तरीके का फॉर्मेशन सही होना चाहिए, हु शुड गो एंड बैट फर्स्ट, व्हाट शुड बी द बैटिंग लाइन, व्हाट शुड बी द बॉलिंग लाइन, ऑल ऑफ these are also talked by the sports psychologist, and this also comes under smart strategy building. Moving on to the last, I think this is the last one. Yeah, this is the last aspect of sports psychology, the type that is career transition support. This happens with athletes who are on the process of retiring, who have decided that they will retire after one match or two match. So how to help them with that transition is what comes under this career transition support. So psychologists under this wing uh, usually help clients as an athletes to adjust with the transitioning life from being an athlete to being a non-athlete in the form of a skipper or a coach. So usually these sports psychologists promotes these clients to come back to us to the sports authority in maybe a passive role, in a more passive role rather than being an active athlete, in a more passive role. जैसे कि आप coaches बन जाओ, आप skippers बन जाओ, आप sports consultant बन जाओ, and something like that. So not just complete shift in dynamics, but then eventually breaking it into chunks. Because from that also, from being in the position of a sports psychologist या skipper हो गया, वो athletes वहां से भी retire होते हैं. So rather than this making a very bouncing and a very, roller coaster transition, keeping it eventual, keeping it through milestones. कि एक milestone is retiring as an athlete and becoming a skipper. दूसरा milestone is retiring as a skipper. तीसरा is being retiring from the authority, the entire sports authority. So breaking it into chunks so that वो transition जो होता है वो easy बन जाए. This is the entire aspect of career transition support. Anybody has a doubt till here? I feel like I'm moving a bit too fast. Am I good to go? Can somebody unmute and tell?
Yes, your pace is perfectly fine. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, quite useful. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, so moving forward, practical benefits. Now, this is an interesting topic. Personally, for me also, and I think as I go forward, it might get interesting for everybody present in this meeting. So, practical benefits, it is a fancy term that I used, but in simple language, it is basically how we can help the clients and what all improvement can we bring as sports psychologists in the client. That is, here by client, I mean athletes. So, I think first is attentional focus. Uh, Enhancing the ability to stay focused on relevant cues during performance, minimizing distraction. The benefits of this is improved concentration, reduced errors, and enhanced reaction time. So, attentional focus is basically how we know that as humans, we have a very different level of attentional span. Like for me, I will zone out after 30 minutes. So, I have a very bad attentional span. Matlab 30 minutes baad I will start to feel disconnected. So this cannot happen during a match because matches are as long as 40 minutes to an hour. Especially in football, there are 1 hour 20-minute matches happening. So an athlete cannot bring themselves to lose focus during a match, because especially in team sports, because it might affect the entire team overall. Okay, so through sports psychology, one benefit that comes is increasing the attentional focus. Maybe through improved concentration, reduced errors, enhanced reaction time. And how to do all this is through the methods that I mentioned: visualization, mental imagery is also there, and then I think there are verbal cues, there are physical actions like taking a deep breath. So physical actions like basically, if you feel that you are losing your focus in a match, you just stop where you are, you just take one long deep breath, like I got this, and then following this with a verbal cue like I got this. It sounds cliche, but it really, really helps, because I myself play basketball and it really helps. I lose attention very easily. I get anxious very easily in a team sport. So all of these techniques really, really helps in bringing back all the focus and all the attention to the game. It actually also helps to denoising. Like, when you, if even if you haven't experienced it, you might have seen that when athletes are playing, a lot of noises are there, or a lot of external environmental noises are there. So it is bounded that athletes get distracted. So how to denoise all of it? Just giving yourself that verbal cue that I got this, and that taking that one long deep breath helps to denoise all of the environment. You just focus on the match. You just focus on the team around you, and you just focus on the match around you. So we do this involuntarily, but then inculcating this voluntarily so that the entire action comes naturally. A lot of technical terms I know, but एक point के बाद ये सब बहुत naturally हो कि I am getting distracted. I will take a deep breath. I will do a verbal cue. I will do a visualization, and I'll be fine. All of this is where the sports psychologist comes into play, and it is a very interesting thing to do. It sounds like a very small thing, but all of this, uh, you know, changes a lot of, result from the maybe from losing to winning maybe. Okay, I think I just received a message from Maria ma'am. She says that the voice is breaking. Is it still breaking?
No, for me it is fine.
Yeah, for me also fine.
Okay, okay,
Not breaking.
okay, okay. Thank you for the texts, and thank you for confirming. Moving forward, the next very important aspect is mental toughness. So, doing the description is building resilience, confidence, and the ability to stay calm under pressure. What is the benefit? Greater consistency in performance, better stress management, and increased perseverance during challenges. Building resilience is nothing but like how are you able to fight back your own personal anxiety, how are you able to fight back your own personal fears during a match, because in team sport you cannot afford to lose your focus, you cannot afford to lose your resilience, because it might turn out to be very costly for your team members. So I think the ability to stay calm under pressure is what mental toughness really is, and how to bounce back, how to be resisting towards it is, one way to do is viewing your opportunities as challenges. Easier said than done, of course, easier said than done, that humne bol diya, it's a switch and flips, oh, I'm seeing my challenges and opportunities, yay. It's not gonna happen. It comes with practice, it comes with gradual self-talk, it comes with a lot of positive talk to yourself. You know, half of the athletes are considered crazy for self-talk, but it is actually a way to help themselves, because like I said, you are your own personal motivator. You will not believe in anybody else unless and until it comes from you. You are your own personal greatest motivator. And I think that is also this, to inculcate this also is where the sports psychologist comes into picture. So I think greater consistency in performance, building resilience leads to greater consistency, because you're able to handle all those emotional outbreaks, you're able to handle all those pressures with great efficiency. And it leads to better stress management. You are able to stay calm under a lot of stress. You have to score a lot of points. You have to look after your team members. You have to come with a good strategy. Good strategy can only come into play if you are calm from here, then only this will work. So I think building resilience, building confidence, and the ability to stay calm under pressure is what, you know is what comes under mental toughness. Next is visualization and goal setting. I think I've talked a lot. A lot of these practical benefits are overlapping, but covering them, in a more concise way, I would say, because all of this we've talked about, visualization and goal setting, motivation and team building. I think these two I will take together. Visualization is nothing but, yeah, sitting with yourself or sitting with your teammates, building strategies, imagining how you would run, how you would play. Uh, the sports psychologist comes into the picture where they say that how would you see yourself in this game? How do you see yourself? How do you see yourself scoring? How do you see yourself tackling pressure? How do you see yourself after the game? How do you see yourself handling all of it? All of these questions are pretty direct, but it actually helps the athletes to move forward in their game. So this is where the role of a sports psychologist comes in, posing all of these questions to the athlete and making them ponder that if I do this, I'm going to do this. Like how every chess has a grandmaster, the sports psychologist helps every athlete to become a grandmaster of their own game. uh, so motivation and team building are related, because in sports psychology there is a very important concept of intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Simple terms, intrinsic motivation is when you play for yourself, when you play for your happiness, when you play for your team's happiness. Extrinsic motivation is when you play for a reward, when you play for a medal, कि अगर इतने स्कोर करे तो जीतेंगे, इतने ज्यादा गोल किया तो मैन ऑफ द मैच बनेंगे, इतनी ज्यादा गोल किया तो एक की जगह दो ट्रॉफी आएगी मे बी. So intrinsic motivation. So sports psychologists, apart from promoting extrinsic motivation, they promote more intrinsic motivation, because when you play for yourself, when you play for your own happiness, when you play for your team team's happiness, when you play for your fellow team members, that becomes your greatest strength. And then you become unstoppable in a match. So I think helping athletes, you know, differentiate between how motivated are you and where you are motivated, how exactly you are motivated, on what basis are you motivating, is how a sports psychologist builds a team, builds an athletes, and it also leads to team cohesion. Team cohesion matlab team spirit and building a good team with a good unity. Because a team that has a good unity, a team that is trusting of each member is the strongest team. Because you know, if you know that the other member of the team will surely pass, will surely do a goal, that is where the team is already one step closer to success. Biggest example of this would be, I think all of you are very much familiar with this movie called Chak De India, right? So everybody's familiar, right? Before moving forward, everybody has seen this movie. Can I get a raise of hands or a shout out? Anybody? Okay, thank you. Thank you for responding, everybody. So Chak De India, if you've seen the movie and if you remember, initially the two strikers, they weren't passing each other and they were very self-motivated कि हम ही गोल करेंगे, हमारी फोटो ही न्यूज़पेपर में आएगी, हमें एक ही जगह 2 मेडल मिलेंगे, right? And it was, they were scoring. But did you see the team spirit? Did you see the team cohesion? Did you see any teamwork being done there? Everybody was giving their best, but these two strikers जिनके हाथ में almost 70% of the match था, which is to do the goal, they weren't in sync, and it led to a lot of internal conflicts within the team. The team almost was in the verge of breaking up, right? But realizing that, but eventually both of them realized that they love the same sport and they are playing for the same team, they are playing for each other, they are playing with each other, resulted in a lot of improvement in teamwork, in team cohesion, unity fostering in the team, and then they become unstoppable. Then the rest of the movie is history. Game they won every game they won, and even if they lost a match, they were showing every bit of sportsman spirit with each other. And apart from having the moment the internal conflicts went away, the team changed into a family. So I think intrinsic motivation boosts a lot of positive relationships, also in positive bonds in the team spirit, in the name of team spirit in the team. Moving forward to anxiety management and rehabilitation. This is something that is very like important when it comes to practical benefits, and it holds a lot of applicability. It also overlaps with the injury portion that we covered in the previous slide. So techniques to reduce performance anxiety and support mental resilience during injury recovery. So this happens after an injury has taken place, because the athlete is not into any routine workout or into any routine exercises. How do the sports psychologists helps in building, their performance? How do they help them reduce their anxiety? How do they help them in supporting their mental toughness during injury recovery? Because the athlete has hit a rock bottom when they are in that injury. So sports psychologists prevent them from actually giving up on everything that they have built throughout their years, by helping them in their performance enhancement, by helping them in their injury recovery, by developing routines for them, by developing plans that are best suited for them, by developing not just physical but cognitive and emotional plans for them, right? And taking all of this together to help the athlete recover in a more faster pace. So the benefits include reduced nervousness, quicker return to play, like I said, increased and quicker recovery, and healthier mental recovery post injury, so that they are not giving up on themselves, so that they don't become a weakness of their own. They still have that support system. They still have that, you know, uh, strength in them to go on and not scared and not feel scared. Techniques, I think every one of us have heard about these techniques called progressive relaxation. It's basically, a method involving the tensing and relaxing of muscle groups to reduce physical and mental tensioning, focusing on the contraction and relaxation of the muscle movement of your body and breathing accordingly, breathing slow and accordingly, and in the counts and in proper ratios. I think that is also a way of calming yourself, calming yourself through anxiety. So sports psychologists, so this is actually like a weapon for sports psychologists to give it to their athletes, progressive relaxation techniques. It helps them because when athletes are in progressive relaxation, when they are practicing progressive relaxation, they focus because they have a good focus, they have a good individual specific as well as gross focus. So when they're focusing on their contraction and relaxation, they are actually distracting themselves or letting go of the anxiety that they're feeling. So uh, the uses are helps athletes manage pre-performance anxiety, enhance focus, and maintain composure under stress. So this is how, these are the uses of progressive relaxation before, during, and after a match. So one of the very common and yet very useful exercise that is promoted a lot by sports psychologists, and I think not just in sports psychology but in day-to-day functioning as well. Progressive relaxation is a very successful technique, especially in sports psychology. Hypnosis sounds interesting, but it is the other term for hypnosis here is guided imagery. The sports, if when the athlete has feels stuck, or feels like they cannot go on in that particular sport, that is when they have a one-to-one session with the sports psychologist. And during that session, the sports psychologist uses this method of hypnosis known as guided imagery. They will help them. Your guided imagery can be as basic as helping them imagine a gameplay in which they are the one who are leading the team. They are the one who are strategizing everything. So helping them making those strategy in their mental imagery, and the sports psychologist guiding them, you know, can bring a lot of motivation in them as well, and a lot of blocks can be moved away. So it's like, you are the athlete is imagining ki acha, okay, I'm in a match. They'll close their eyes. So I'm in a match. I am stuck here. I don't know where to pass the ball. I don't know where to take a shot. But okay, wait, I can pass to this person. So, addressing even the simplest blocks that were once impossible to address is done through guided imagery by the sports psychologist, that helps them achieve even their small as well as their greatest fears, I would say. Moving forward, third is biofeedback. Biofeedback is the technical uh technique where athletes use equipments like a monitor, that to a monitor like a heart rate monitor, uh, like a skin temperature monitor to tell them about their physiological responses, how a person is reacting during stress, how a person is reacting in their anxiety, how a person is reacting when they are on the losing end. So I think the physiological responses, taking them into consideration and helping the athlete move forward, setting the goal accordingly. Ki, okay, maybe the heart rate increases a lot when they are on the losing end. So I think I should work on this. I should work on the athlete's comeback. Where there is a lot where the athlete shows a lot of sportsman spirit, that even so that even after losing, they don't feel like it's the end of the world. So physiological responses also helps to understand a lot of unsaid problems, emotional problems, mental problems that the athlete is going through. Uh, it says uses controlling arousal level. So I will take this point. There is a term called as arousal level. So arousal level is nothing but helping the client, the athlete, work on the optimal level of functioning. It's like it is very simple because लेमन टर्म्स में अगर आप बहुत ज्यादा मेहनत करोगे तो आप थकोगे, अगर आप कुछ मेहनत नहीं करोगे तो भी आप थके ही रहोगे. If you work extra, if you work over hard, you can still fail. If you do no hard work at all, you still fail. You need to understand, every athlete's, so sports psychologists through this, they understand every athlete's optimal functioning. Every athlete has a graph. Every athlete has a subjective level of their optimal functioning. जिससे ऊपर अगर वो गए तो they will get tired a lot. अगर उससे नीचे बहुत ज्यादा नीचे रहे तो they will become lazy. So helping athletes understand their own arousal level, their own energy levels, I would say. Arousal here means energy levels. Because अगर वो ज्यादा energy use करेंगे, it might lead them to feel fatigued, burnout, मैच में जल्दी थक जाएंगे. एंड अगर बिल्कुल ही नहीं करेंगे तो आउटकम ही नहीं आएगा. So sports psychologist also takes all of these small things into small details into consideration while forming a team and while making the strategies and putting a sports line as in कौन कितना दौड़ेगा, किसका क्या रोल है. Sports psychologist, sports counselor, with the help of sports coach and the skipper, decides every movement of every athlete in the match, before the match, during the match. Next is CBT, our favorite, I would say. Most of the people's favorite, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. CBT में सबसे ज़्यादा here REBT uses, rational emotive behavior therapy. Will not go much into technicality, but it is a structural approach that helps athletes recognize their thought patterns and behaviors, basically addressing their fears, addressing their triggers, addressing their phobias. This usually happens. The triggers are usually addressed after a very major injury, when they're scared of their fears, when they're scared of getting injured again. So there is a concept of systematic desensitization. पहले छोटा सा फोबिया पकड़ते हैं, फिर उससे एक लेवल ऊपर फोबिया पकड़ेंगे, फिर उससे एक लेवल ऊपर ट्रिगर पकड़ेंगे, एंड दैट इज हाउ धीरे धीरे ग्रेजुअली द ट्रिगर्स आर टैकल्ड, एंड एज अ रिजल्ट दैट डज नॉट रिमेन अ ट्रिगर एनीमोर. सो पहले वो छोटी इंजरी पकड़ेंगे, फिर वो बोलेंगे कि हाउ डिड यू हैव अ कम बैक थ्रू दिस इंजरी. वो एथलीट खुद बोलेगा कि मैंने ये किया, ये किया, ये किया. फिर थोड़ी बड़ी इंजरी पकड़ेंगे, देन दे विल आस्क देम, एंड एंड में बिल्कुल एक बड़ी इंजरी पकड़ेंगे एंड हेंस tackling every injury step by step through systematic desensitization is what is CBT, or what comprises the CBT comprises of, I would say. ऐसे ही बहुत सारे the technique that we've all heard is progressive muscle relaxation technique, PMRT, also falls under CBT. I think this was the major general crux. यहाँ से we will pick up a faster pace. The Indian context is like we talk about career prospects, salary expectations, internship opportunities, and what is the importance of sports psychology in Indian context now. मतलब उसके पहले हमने जो भी cover किया, it was also from the Indian context, but now being very specific to India, because a lot of organizations will be mentioned, a lot of notable people will also be mentioned here. So talking about career prospects now, like I said, sports psychology is comparatively a new yet a very demanding field in India, because now a lot of adults, a lot of the growing population, the Gen Z population, I would say, are very much into sports, are very much into other career aspects, apart from the mainstream career aspects, that is being an engineer, doctor, or being a like these two main aspects. So apart from being a teacher, being a lecturer, so a lot of new generation people are actually moving forward towards other ways of career prospects, that is psychology. So it is a sports psychologist, influencer. So this is also one of the growing and advancing fields in India. Opportunities are sports psychologists can work with sports team. They can also work with hospitals, rehabilitation centers, research institutes, and fitness centers. The best advantage of sports psychology is इनकी requirement हर sector में होती है, हर field में होती है. Be it sports team, be it individual one-to-one therapy sessions towards a sports athlete, in a hospital, in a rehabilitation center, in a research institute, because a very important part of sports psychology is understanding the physiology of the human being. So this makes them at par with other professions as well. Salary expectations of a newbie entry level sports psychologist is 3 to 5 lakhs per annum, depending on the organization and location. Metropolitan cities hold a lot of importance, and on the upper level, that is 4 to 5 lakhs per annum, is offered by organization and locations of the metropolitan cities. Experienced professional uh, who have some experience in this field get somewhere around 8 to 15 lakhs per annum, who are established sports psychologists who wants to work on a team. And then comes private practice, the one-to-one therapy, being a sports psychologist, being a sports counselor uh, to any one particular notable sports person. Why am I doing that? Uh, Sorry for the disturbance. Actually, I'm still in college. So moving forward, courses in education. So for sports psychology, there is no specific degree in bachelor's, but BA in psychology, BA in applied psychology, BSc in psychology, or BSc in applied psychology is where you begin from if you have to pursue a career in sports psychology. Basically, you can have a degree in psychology, you can have a degree in physiological sciences, you can have a degree in sports sciences as well in bachelor's to produce the produce I'm saying produce to go forward with this course. So the popular institutes that give courses and education in sports psychology is National Sports University, that is in Manipur, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, that is TIS in Mumbai, Indira Gandhi Institute of Physical Education, Sports Sciences, that is in New Delhi. Additional, there are certification courses, diploma courses also in sports psychology, mental conditioning, or performance psychology are available and beneficial for those who are looking to specialize further. Now, scope and future aspects is basically like I talked about, it's an expanding field. India's growing presence in sports, global sports and Olympics and other Paralympic sports, and the well-being of a person, both physical and mental, all of these sub aspects had led to sports psychology becoming a very expansive field in today's India. New avenues is now with a counselor and a group of counselors being on every field. Now, sports psychologists are also have a place, also have a vacancy in schools, colleges, and sports academies. That is incorporating sports psychology support, creating a positive outlook for this field in India, because India is very pro promoting sports now because of the beautiful results that we have got in Olympics and other international competitions as well. So I took a lot of effort and a lot of research in making this particular slide, but I hope it helps you all, the people who are pursuing bachelor's, people who are pursuing masters, the people who have already finished with the bachelor's and masters, because there is no age criteria to become a sports psychologist. So the first is National Sports University. It is a government type. It's in Manipur, and the course offered is here MA in sports psychology. So specifically in sports psychology, masters in sports psychology is offered by this university. Second is National School of Leadership. It is in Pune, Maharashtra. Certification course in sports psychology. Then there is Institute of Sports Science and Technology. It's also in Pune. Certification sports psychology and mental training is also given. Central University of Rajasthan. So this offers post-graduation degree in sports psychology. Same way, Institute of Holistic Mental Health in Tamil Nadu and Jain University in Bangalore. That also this gives postgraduate diploma in sports psychology. Uh, these are three of the more. This one institute that I came across is Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University, Chennai. This is State University. It's in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. This is the only institute that I've heard of that I was looking that when I was searching for it. This is the only university that I came across that offers BSc specific to sports psychology, and so with an additional degree in sociology. So it's like a double major course, sports psychology maybe and sociology. And henceforth, it gives MSc in sports psychology and sociology. So this is like a double major course, but this considers sports psychology as a core paper in bachelor level as well. So Lakshmi Bai National Institute of Physical Education, Gwalior. This also offers MA in sports psychology, and Guru Nanak Dev University in Amritsar, Punjab also offers MA in sports psychology. This is internship and other opportunities apart from the pursuing and in the bachelor's and the master's level. This is for the people who have already finished the bachelor's and master's but are still interested in connecting with sports psychology and are very much interested in handling this population is one internship. Authorities of One of the major authorities of India in sports psychology is Sports Authority of India, that is SAI. It is all over India. The headquarters of it is in Delhi. There is there is SAI in Bangalore. It's in Chennai. It's in Ludhiana. There's in Chandigarh also. There's in Lucknow also. So it is all over India. This is the major authority, the major organization that officially actively gives internship opportunities in sports psychology. Another is Simply Sport Bangalore. There's a criteria for SAI. They give internship opportunities only to the people who have done masters, who have a degree in masters. I am still not sure of the specificity of masters, whether it should be psychology or sports psychology. But what they only mentioned is the people who have a degree in post graduation are only eligible to appear for a sports psychology internship in this particular organization. The second is Simply Sport. Simply Sport offers internship opportunities on a bachelor level as well. There is another trainee health tech. So initially their post came on LinkedIn and Internshala as well. This offers internship paid and unpaid as well to bachelors and people who are pursuing post graduation in sports psychology. Pro Health Asia is the biggest one. After SAI, it is one of the biggest uh, organizations of sports psychology, and a lot of known and notable sports psychologists of India are working in this organization. So this also offers a very good internship opportunity. Then comes Netaji Subhas National Institute of Sports, Patiala. This also offers internship in sports psychology. Here below are the websites that I searched for, so that it is beneficial for me and for people who are in this workshop as well. These are the websites that will help you open these SAI and Simply Sport ka page. So these websites will lead you to all of these internship opportunities ka page. There is this one website that I would like to mention is Samiksha Services. So when I looked into it, it not just gave internship, but it also gave assignments on sports psychology and certification courses, as well as mentorship on sports psychology. So I think this is a website worth checking out. LinkedIn, the best and the beautiful source of looking for internship opportunities. Then there is the opportunity cell of SAI that also publishes a lot of brochures on internships and vacancies in sports psychology. Pro Health Asia, then there is NSNIS Patiala that I mentioned above. So I think बहुत detail इतना हो गया. So I think how does it actually, the applicability is here. That is notable persons in sports psychology. So first is Mugdha Damankar Vaware. So this is the founder and director of, and she's a counseling and sports psychologist, and she is a professional member of Sports Authority of India, and she is a swimmer par excellence, and she has worked with I think the Indian wrestling team. I think she has worked with. Yeah. So she is still I will read this. So she really believes in peak performance with the concept of optimal function that I talk about. She really holds a crux over it. And since the beginning of her career, she has had a keen interest in sports. So I think, yeah, she's one of the notable persons who are actively working in the Sports Authority of India, who have worked with a lot of international and national teams as well. Next is Abhilasha Saharan. She is a clinical and a sports psychologist at Pro Health Asia. This is Pro Health Asia I mentioned in the websites wala part. It is a physiotherapy and a rehab center. So She is currently working with the Indian women hockey team, and she's working with both the senior as well as the junior Indian women hockey team. And she is the sports psychologist and the clinical psychologist to them. And since June 2017, she has joined the Indian national junior team as well. Apart from this, she is a lifetime member of the Sports Psychology Association of India.